Hello, everybody, and welcome back to HavoKast. We talk about anything and everything here, and today we're going to revisit something I did on my other channel, the Andy Havoc channel. One of my first ever videos I did on YouTube. We were ranking Iron Maiden albums, and I kind of want to just do this, go into it blind again, and kind of see, a whole year or so of listening has gone by again, with, decades of me listening to Iron Maiden, but it's been about a year since I've done the ranking, so I want to see where it stacks up. I want to see how I differ. I mean, music to me is so mood dependent and so very just different depending on what you are doing, what you're feeling, where you're going, if you're working out, if you're trying to chill, whatever the case may be, how often you listen to a song, that kind of thing. So I'm just quite interested to see how it stacks up. I know the top is going to stay around the same probably because a lot of the opinions have not changed on that. The bottom may change around a little bit though, but we'll see. Anyway, getting into it, we have bad category, just albums that I can listen to any Iron Maiden album, but there's definitely very, very few occasions where I'd want to listen to these. There's better. I think it's going to be more like albums that have some great songs, some good songs, and then some songs that I could do without. Good, pretty much listenable all the way through. Great albums, one that I'm like, yo, I crave this album, I want to listen to it. And then Masterpiece is one that you could just put on any time, and I'm there. Yeah, let's get into it though. If you guys like Iron Maiden or really any bands or music, or you want to talk about your rankings, you can always comment whatever's down here. Also, I haven't been talking about this much if you've seen any of these videos, but if you have any ideas of things to discuss or rank or share or whatever, please don't be afraid to put those in the comments as well. I love doing these. It's turned into kind of just, whatever some of my favorite stuff is to do or watch or experience, let me talk about it. So I don't know if that's how it's going to be from now on, but we will get into it. Guys, thank you all for being here. First of all, we got the self-titled album Iron Maiden. I think it is a classic. I love it. Where it falls a little flat is obviously it was the first one, so recording quality is not as great. They essentially, this album, Killers, it's like, if we polished up this album, this is what it would be like kind of thing. However, there are songs on here that just absolutely just steal my soul, they're just so good. I'm going to put it on the good section. The incredibly underrated song Strange World on here. It's just something that I could listen to anytime I'm driving at night anywhere. It's got so much nostalgia tied to it. I think it's a beautifully written song. Iron Maiden, classic song. There's just a lot of good stuff on here. But, like I say, recording quality and just kind of finding who you are is the only thing holding it back from being a better album. Strong debut, though. Killers, I will actually probably put at great album. I think all around, this album is fantastic. There are some just... Oh, man, Murders in the Rue Morgue, Killers itself. I remember playing those songs, in bands and stuff growing up, and it just... Man, they're so fun. Such a great album. There's more songs on it than the self-titled as well, so... even if they're not all for you, there's just so much to choose from on them. I think it's a great album, and very good introduction album too, actually. It doesn't get like too technical, but it's also not, just pure, British new wave punk or anything like that. Even though it's kind of what it's classified as, it's still just, it's a great album. I love it. Number of the Beast, what can you say about it? I'm putting it on Masterpiece, of course, because it's a masterpiece. It's iconic. It's the one that everybody knows. It's in all the popular, games and stuff like that. But I'm not putting it up there for Run to the Hills, The Number of the Beast, or anything like that. I think Children of the Damned is incredible. I think Hallowed Be Thy Name is one of the best songs they've written. I think there's just so much this album has to offer. Charlotte the Harlot into 22 Acacia Avenue. So Charlotte the Harlot was a song that came out on the previous albums, but they have the song continued all the way through, it's almost like a story for multiple albums. So 22 Acacia Avenue kind of follows that up, and the guitar riff is great, the imagery is incredible. It's just a very touching song. There's a lot of great songs on here. Prisoner is just fun to listen to. It's just one of those deals. Peace of Mind, I think, is a stellar album that gets overlooked. I will put it at great album and not masterpiece, but also slightly better than good. I think it's borderline good, depending on what your taste is or what your feeling is in the moment, because there's a lot of great songs and there are a lot of overlooked ones. Of course, The Trooper's on there, and that's what people are going to look for. I know it's one of those songs that they just always have to have if you're talking about Iron Maiden, but Flight of Icarus is another popular one. I think Still Life is kind of an underrated, awesome song on there as well. And, there's some good stuff. There's some good things. It's just, I think you have to be in the mood for it. And for me, Peace of Mind is one of those that just kind of goes under the radar. Power Slave is going above Number of the Beast. I think they're just, hit after hit on this one. I love this album so much. Rime of the Ancient Mariner, I saw that live. I thought that was incredible. Aces High is just as good a song as you can get. 2 Minutes to Midnight, same deal. Talk about a good workout song. 2 Minutes to Midnight will have you throwing some weight. It's absolutely wild. And they did an instrumental song in here as well. Lost for Words, which, to be fair, I don't love instrumental songs, but they did a great job with it. I think all around you can just listen to it all the way front and back, and it's just going to be a great experience. These albums, oh my god, talk about just being able to listen all the way through. I could put these on and just fall asleep, but still be awake, if that makes sense. Just get in like a trance-like state and just go through this. I'm working on things. I don't even know what's going on around me. I'm just listening to this music. It's like that all the way through the 80s. And I'm going to put Somewhere in Time at the front, even above Power Slave. This is where, all of these could change. Every one of these is so good that it's which one's really your number one? For me right now, Caught Somewhere in Time is just such an epic song. The intro to this masterpiece of an album, it's so epic. There's Deja Vu. People don't even think about Deja Vu, and it's just so good. Wasted Years is such a touching song to me. I think it's just a beautiful song with a beautiful video. The album art, even alone, is just so cool to look at. It takes me back. That alone is just such a time capsule in and of itself. There's just, The Loneliness, The Long Distance Runner. You can go on and on. Heaven Can Wait. Guys, come on. This album is just so good. And it's when they really got into their concept album phase. Now, they took it as far as they could with this Seventh Son album, which frequently fights for the number one spot for me. I know this stuff's going to be about the same up here. These albums are just they just are stuck with me. I think I own every one of these vinyls as well. But Seventh Son, it's one that competes for the top spot with Somewhere in Time a lot for me. Seventh Son itself is a great song, an epic song. The Prophecy. Can I Play with Madness? I think The Evil That Men Do is one of my favorite songs also. Probably top 10 material, or at least top 15. It's up there, though. They got over 140 songs now or something like that, somewhere around there. And to be anywhere close to the top 10, or even in the top 10, is wild. But that's just great. There's so many. The Clairvoyant, it's a story album, so that's the only thing I will say. If you want to just put one on and get lost in a story, this is going to be your number one album for sure. It's a great story. It's a great ride they take you on. But I'm just really feeling Somewhere in Time right now. I've been going back and watching a lot of those retro concerts and things like that, where they have the Caught Somewhere in Time, intro for the Somewhere in Time tour, and it's just so epic. They played it fairly recently live, too, and God, if I had known, I would have done anything to get into that tour. That is actually crazy. I would love to see that song and perform that. I'd love to perform that song in a band, or just try to even. I think that'd be so cool. The 90s, what a big letdown for a lot of bands. No Prayer for the Dying, I gotta put that in There's Better. I think it's a good album, solid overall. Especially if you're like a big fan of the music and you just can't get enough of it. But Adrian Smith not being there was tough. He's such a good writer, and he has such a good feel and a good tone. Bruce was doing his experimental vocals. We saw a lot of that starting to peak out here, but He really was going for a harsher tone and a darker feel, and the 90s were all dark. I mean, it just got darker and darker for their style and their music. But yeah, I think there's better. I think there's better albums out there. I think there's a couple of good songs on here. I mean, Tail Gunner's good. You know, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter's like their single on there that was supposed to be like their big hit from the album, and it's just not. I mean, it just doesn't do it for me. Yeah, I don't know. I think they kind of missed the mark on this one. I think there's stuff you can listen to. There's a good amount of songs on there, but, you know, quality over quantity was kind of these albums right here. They had about 8 or 9 songs on a lot of these albums, and, you know, every one of them were bangers. Something I'll say about this, though, if you've noticed, if you listen to these albums, a big thing is they change their sound slightly on each album. And then change their feel just a bit too, although it still has that Iron Maiden flair to it. So they're writing very similar styles on a lot of these albums, but they're changing their sound just enough so you don't get caught in that loop of like, oh yeah, I like their old stuff better than their new stuff, because technically every album is their new stuff, you know? So it's nice that you don't get stuck in that mundane, you know. There's a lot of big bands out there that had like 4 or 5 hit albums, and then, you know, they just did the same thing over and over and over again, but once they run out of that same thing, they have to write new stuff. It's not the same feel of the band. So I like that they were always kind of pushing forward and trying new stuff, and like each album has such a specific feel and like almost like a color associated with it, and just a theme and like, you know, an atmosphere to it. I love the band. I love what they've done. I could talk about it for hours, but let's keep going here. Fear of the Dark is an album that people love. I don't know if I necessarily get the love for the whole album. I think it's got awesome songs on it, but I think it's also got a couple of songs that I don't love. I'm going to put it at good, and just inside the good category, because like Fear of the Dark itself as a song, I think is a great song with the build-up. I think it drags in places though. Again, I just think, you know, they lost a lot of that writing like pop with Adrian Smith being gone. I think him not being in the band, you know, was tough to break out some of those really iconic, unique riffs and things like that. But I mean, they had some great moments in here. Judas Be My Guide. I talked about this on the last one too. That song is so overlooked and so over, you know, I don't know. I guess it's just not hyped up enough. It's overlooked is what I was getting at, I guess. I don't know what I was even going for. But either way, it's very, very good. And I don't know why it doesn't get as much love as it does deserve, but it is what it is. Wasting Love is a good song, although it's one of those you got to be in the mood for. You know, Chains of Misery doesn't do it for me. There's just, you know, Weekend Warrior. Like, there's a lot of just filler songs on here, to be fair. And saying filler songs with Iron Maiden, it's just such a 90s thing, because there's really no other albums in any other decades that feel like they have fillers like these couple of albums have had. But the good really build the album up, and the bad kind of hold it back from being a top-tier album. That being said, X Factor, I mean, I am straight up not digging that album. I know it's easy to talk about it because there was no Adrian Smith, there was no Bruce Dickinson. I don't think Blaze was a bad singer. I don't think they utilized his skill set as good as it could have been used. I think it's just filler after filler, just filler songs. By the way, how you guys liking this jazz music while we're talking about Iron Maiden, huh? Pretty fun. But yeah, I just think it's you know, just a lot of filler. I want to say, and no surprise, I'm going to put Virtual 11, or, you know, 11 or whatever they call it, Virtual, I don't know, right next to it. I think this is slightly worse because The Angel and the Gambler, in my opinion, is almost like a joke song. And write some damn lyrics, man. My God. I mean, what do they say? The same, like, 5 words just over and over again in the song, and it's like, please, you know, you're going to write a long, epic song. Make it be a long, epic song. But it just felt like a joke. I think in these 2 albums, they have maybe 4 or 5 songs that I'm like, yeah, I'd listen to those right now. You know, Man on the Edge, Future Real, and they're not like super complex songs or anything like that. Klansman's iconic, and they actually did well with Blaze's vocals on that one, but I don't know. I just think they lost so much without having Adrian Smith in the band. And then when Bruce wasn't there, it was just tough. They're just kind of piecing it together. To be fair, dark period for a couple of the band members, this whole 90s thing, and everybody was kind of figuring it out. But I'm sure they were pretty stressed out about everything going on in their, band's career and everything like that too. But the classic, when it comes to games, movie franchises, music, whatever, is the reunion, the resurgence, and, give the people what they want, right? Brave New World, what an album. I love this album. I'm going to put it above Peace of Mind and just slightly below Killers. The only reason I put it below Killers is because Killers just has so much energy about it. There's a few energetic songs in Brave New World, but I think it's more of a beautiful album than anything. And there are times when I would put it in Masterpiece, just because, man, it is so good. But Killers, I think the energy is just really speaking to me lately. Brave New World, like I say, it's a beautiful album. It's got a lot of emotion tied to it. The actual song, Brave New World, fantastic. I think the harmonies in this, oh my god, you have all three guitarists and everybody working on harmonies, and then you see this stuff live, so good. Ghost of the Navigator, beautiful. Out of the Silent Planet, underrated, but, I get it. The Thin Line Between Love and Hate, great song, gotta be in the mood for it. Dream of Mirrors, whew, man, that's a good song too. I don't know, there's just a lot of good stuff. Blood Brothers is a beautiful song and makes me sad every time I hear it, especially the meaning behind it, and if you want to live through that song, it's a great one. But yeah, I just think Wicker Man, talk about an energetic, awesome song. Wicker Man's great too. But yeah, that's dude, the Rock in Rio with the Brave New World songs is like the feature set list and everything. That's an incredible live. Dance of Death is one that I keep grappling with. I keep going back and forth. I think it's just, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to put it down here. I think every song is good on the album. I think it's there's not a whole lot of standout songs that are great, but I think it's a long album, and Dance of Death is a really well-written song. Rainmaker's a great song. Every song on here you can listen to. You can listen to this whole album all the way through. I just don't know that there's a whole lot that really stands out about it. It's one of those albums that's just... It's got highs that are very high, but not as high as up here, and the low points are pretty high too. So I don't know. I mean, it's a great album all around, just because you can just pick a song in there and be like, yeah, I can vibe to this. A Matter of Life and Death. Now this one's also one. These 2000s and on albums are so just all over the place for me. They're longer songs. The songs are getting longer. I'm going to put it at good. You got to be in the mood for it, but when you're in the mood for it, it hits hard. These Colors Don't Run, The Longest Day. One of my favorite songs is Different World, too. That song is incredible. I love it. I think it's fun to play, fun to listen to. I think it's a great karaoke song. But there's a lot of epic intro songs that just have such a strong build-up. And, I think... after you get through the intros and then some of the bridges and whatnot, there's just a lot of extra on the songs, and they're long to be long in parts. I feel like some of these songs are just long to be long. But almost every song on there is pretty much listenable, I mean, I think it's a very mood-dependent album. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it was very good. I think it was a very, very good album that they did. The Final Frontier is another one that's just kind of gone up and down for me. I am going to put it at probably above Fear of the Dark, but just because, highs are high, lows are low. I think it's a well-written album, and I think it's very mood-dependent as well, but it's just... It's it's stuff that stands out in good ways and stuff that stands out in kind of like, I see the direction, but I'm not sure I necessarily follow the direction all the time. I like the album. It's solid all the way through, you know? Like I say, I think Fear of the Dark itself is held back by some filler songs that don't really do much for me. Whereas this one, like, you can listen to everything. You just got to be in the mood for it. I'm not always in the mood for it is all. Book of Souls, I'm putting it down if there's better. And this is one that I was like excited about when it came out, and I thought, damn, this is a good album. And then I listened to it a few more times, and I'm just like, I don't know if it's as listenable all the time as I thought it was originally. Definitely a very mood-dependent album. A lot of long songs, a lot of filler stuff here and there. But, yeah, Book of Souls, I think the thing that also brought it down is their newest album just is like the Book of Souls, but better in every way. I think it's better in every way. I'm putting it right here at good because, again, it's just a very long album. I don't mind length in the album, but it's missing, in my opinion, those couple of like short hit energetic songs. And I know it's late in their careers and everything, but they still bring energy when they're on the stage. I mean, dude, Bruce is running around like a madman still. I don't know how he does it. I mean, we got, you know, people in their early 20s like breaking their limbs, you know, jumping off of the stage and running around and stuff like that. And Bruce has been doing it for, you know, what, 60 years or something now? Well, I guess not exactly 60 years, maybe 40 years, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just, it's one of those things where I don't know how he's doing it, but I'm glad he's doing it. And it just feels like it's great, but it's not everything I, look for in an Iron Maiden album. And, like I said, I'm going to go back and compare these and see what we got going on. I might even put the lists, of how they were before and after in there, just because I think, man, this is just, it's almost shocking to me to see how I've ranked these, because I think some of these were actually a little higher before. But, like I say, it's mood dependent. It's been a whole year of listening to all this stuff, loving all this stuff, and here we are. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. Let me know what you thought, in the comments. How does your list differ? I want to say, it's from left to right in order from like best to worst. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know what I mean? So just going like that. But yeah, guys, please don't be afraid to talk about what you got going on in here. If you have any suggestions for any other lists we can do, any other bands you want to throw in here that we want to talk about, I have no problem. We talk about anything and everything on this channel, So thank you very much for all of this, and being you guys, please have a great day.